We are off to another day of hearings. Our first presenter this afternoon is Bill Meek, our Register of Deeds, and I will wish him a happy early birthday because that's on Wednesday.
Happy birthday.
And
Thank you very much.
It will be on page 40 of your binders, 40. And Bill, I'll turn it over to you.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Bill Meek. I'm the Register of Deeds. As you know, our mission in the Register of Deeds is to have accessible records, fast and friendly service, while meeting the statutory requirements that the state of Kansas puts out for us. We have two statutory duties that we have to follow. One is to provide public record and make it available to the public. This service is available to all Sedgwick County citizens. We have since last year, we have all of our records online now that can be viewed by the citizen without having to come to the courthouse. The second priority we have, and probably the most important, is to preserve and protect the records from now until ever. So when the microfilm starts to get bad, we have to go in and fix it, figure out a way to repair it, take care of it, because the film will eventually start to fade off of the microfilm. This year we've had a lot of changes in the Register of Deeds office and in the state. And what I did last year is I went to the different banks and told them that the mortgage registration fee was going to change and try to work with all the bank and lending agencies so that we could keep our percentage of rejection lower than what we had initially anticipated. The visit produced better results than I had expected. I thought we would have a 30% reduction in rejections, but we ended up with a 8.4% rejection, which is pretty high compared to what our normal rejection is, around 2%. Due to the loss and the 5-year phase out of the mortgage registration fee, the mortgage registration fee will be phased out in 5 years to where it will be nothing. What it causes us to do is we first of all had to rebuild a computer system under the new format. Took us over 6 months to do that. Took us 3 months just training and checking to make sure the thing works. So we're going to have to change it every year from now on out until 2019. So we're going to have some time in DIO changing it and for us to get used to the prices. I put this slide in here so you can see for yourself since 2006 to current how much we have brought in just mortgage registration tax. For those 9 years, that totals up $59,000.4 million. In 2019, we will not get that money anymore. Since 2012, the Register of Deeds under KS 28115, where we have over $50,000 in our budget, and we give that money to the Commissioner's Technology Fund so that they can use it for technology and technological services for their land records. So far to date, we've given $4.5 million. And I believe in next month we'll be coming to you again to give you some more. The Register of Deeds budget request personnel is for $892,261, contracts $12,429, commodities $30,417, given a total of $1,025,007, which is less than last year. And that's the last page, and I'll answer any questions that you have for me at this time.
I don't see any questions.
Okay, thank you
Short
very
and sweet.
That's
The
what I like.
presentation was good too.
I was born that way too. Thanks.
Well, short. Wow. Why would he say sweet? That's not
All right, commissioners, our next presentation will be by Kelly Arnold, our county clerk, and that will be on page 34 of your binders. And Kelly, I'll turn it over to you whenever you're ready.
All right, let's get this thing started. All right, is everybody on the right page? Good
What
afternoon.
page did you say?
34.
34. Good afternoon, Kelly Arnold, Sedgwick County Clerk. I will try to make this as painless as Mr. Meek did. Okay, County Clerk. Our mission is to efficiently, accurately, and courteously provide property tax and budget and special assessment, mill levy, real estate, contractual licensing, and other information on time, maintaining accurate records of real estate transactions, facilitate open and timely access to public information, provide positive communication with the public, other county departments, and units of local government and state. We serve the citizens of Sedgwick County, residents, realtors, title companies, the state of Kansas, Department of Revenue, Wildlife Parks and Tourism, Sedgwick County townships, cities, USDs, and improvement districts. Our county clerk administration administers oath of offices, maintains county records and licenses. Department of Wildlife, we sell licenses. We sell a few less because a former commissioner was in probably twice a week buying deer permits. We prepare homestead tax refunds, secretary to the BOCC, administer contracts, resolutions, and BOCC minutes. The tax administration of our office sets the tax rate, the mill levy, assists in preparing over 80 taxing authority budgets, specifically our townships and some of the improvement districts. We assign special assessments. We maintain all land records, process real estate property transfers and corrections. Third part of our office is a scanning project. This is our project we've been doing for several years of scanning historical transfer books to an electronic image, and then taking the data entry of those transfer books into a searchable database, and eventually then would be the storage of our historical books. On this project, we have over almost 400,000 lines of index already. It's my goal this year is to go. We have sufficient enough records to go ahead and start putting this out online, where our citizens can go into what we'll probably put as a link on our website for historical. So it would be different than what they would do as current. It would be a historical records, and they can go ahead and start. My goal is at the end of, by this year, research historical transfers. So that hopefully will eliminate a lot of people coming into our office doing book research, which we have a number of people every day that do come in for that. Challenges or changes and challenges. The 2016 tax system plan conversion. This is something that's very fluid, and we're waiting to find out for sure when this is going to take place. It could potentially take place in 2016, but if it does, it's going to be a significant. It requires significant attention from our office to make sure everything is converted right. We have a very complicated tax system, and it's extremely important that when we send out tax bills, they are correct. Here's a summary for our 2016 budget request. With administration at $339,000, the tax department on $758,000, and there's no scanning project in this year, so our overall request is about a $50,000 short from last year, which would be $1.098 million. And that's it. And I stand for questions. Do you need more powerful glasses, Commissioner?
Thought I was hallucinating there for a minute.
I think Commissioner Howell has a question.
Thank you, Mr.
Sure.
Chairman. First of all, now I know I can buy deer permits on your floor. I'm going to be down there quite a lot.
Absolutely. Well, the former commissioner in that seat did.
I was just curious, on your budget request, what do you mean by admin and tax? What's that tax category? That's kind of an unusual description.
Well, our office is divided into two funds that are from tax dollar, general fund dollars.
Okay.
One is the administration part, and the other is the tax. It's kind of divided. We do two very separate operations in our office. One is strictly dealing with real estate transactions and properties. The other one deals more specifically with the actual taxes, dealing with mill levies, special assessments, and I believe front office.
Okay, I
systems.
understand.
So it's kind of a way to divide the two offices, or the office into two different funds.
That makes sense. All right, thank you very much.
Sure.
That's all I have.
All right. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly. Well, with that, then, our final presentation for today is by the election commissioner, Tabitha Lehman, and she's here. And we will be on page 45 of your binders.
Good morning, Commissioners, and I believe, Commissioner Ranzow, you are due some congratulations on your anniversary today, are you not? Is it your anniversary?
Yeah.
Well, your wife posted on Facebook,
Oh, well,
so.
thank you. I was wondering.
And she tagged you, so I saw it. So happy anniversary.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I guess it's good afternoon, Commissioners. I will try to make this as painless. Well, it won't be as painless because I'm asking for more money than my previous two people did, but as painless as possible for you as we go through this. So obviously, I'm representing the election office. Our mission and services are to provide all eligible Sedgwick County citizens the opportunity to register to vote and participate in an informed manner in simple, accessible, and secure elections. Our main departments would be voter registration, and I won't go into all of this, but basically to maintain clean and accurate database. Advanced voting provides convenient and expanding voting opportunities and options for the voters. Polling place voting on Election Day. Candidate services, and that would be something you're all familiar with. And then customer service, guide customers through the election process by phone and in person. And then also we have a lot of walk-ins in the historic courthouse that have nothing to do with us, and we tell them that they're in the wrong building and where to go. Our current changes and challenges that we face, some of these are the same as we did last year, but of course, last year we were beginning to know how these challenges were going to affect us, and now as we go into 16, it's going to expand because it will be a presidential year. The first one would be implementation of the citizenship requirements. This has increased our workload by quite a bit. Conducting voter registration drives, and we are now attending weekly naturalization ceremonies to get copies of those proof of citizenship documents from those newly naturalized citizens. On Fridays, we attend between 2 to 3 naturalization ceremonies every Friday. We have the party affiliation change law that requires our office to reject party affiliation changes from June 1st to September 1st. This increases, obviously, the amount of time it takes to process the registration during this time, but it also requires an additional notice to be sent to the voter. And the thing that we saw in 2014 was people just kept trying to re-register because the change didn't take, so they just kept trying again and again. So instead of processing one registration, sometimes it was up to 4 for one person, and we still couldn't process the party change. Finding new and replacing existing polling locations. We've already received notification that we will have to replace 2 of our polling locations before 2016. We also would like to either find bigger locations for some of them with expanded parking and area inside for voting, or we will have to divide those sites into 2 locations. Obviously, one of our ongoing things, which is a nationwide thing, is recruiting qualified election workers. That is always going to be an issue. And then, obviously, we're also researching and analyzing new election technology and moving towards replacing our voting fleet. In our 2016 budget request, we have 2 funds. We have the election administration, which is the side of our office that is basically year-round, all of our full-time staff, and then the election operations budget, which provides the funding for operational costs associated with each election. And just, this is not in my slideshow, but just so you are aware, we are actually getting ready to mail 28,000 ballots on Wednesday for special elections that have been called for June. We do have a decision package where we are requesting additional staff. Obviously, my rationale is to add staff to our to our office. We have over the years seen quite a reduction. I believe in 2008 there were 9 or 10 full-time staff members in the office. In 2012 there were 4 of us. 14 we upped that to 6, and I believe it needs to go back to 10. I did do some figures for you there so you could compare the 4 counties that have election commissioners. Wyandotte and Shawnee County, if you take their number of registered voters and divide that by the number of full-time employees, they have less than 12,000 registered voters for full-time employee. Johnson County has 21,671, and Cedric has more than double that at over 45,000. So for me, what that means is each one of my staff members is being asked to do 2 to 3 times the amount that their equivalents in other counties are. That request is $229,352 for those 4 positions. And I could bore you with all the reasons why I need them, but I felt these numbers made my argument for me. So our total budget request, not including the decision package that we're asking, the administration would be $484,299. Election operations would be $745,587 for a total of $1,229,088. Yeah, you get the point. I know I said that wrong, sorry. And I would also mention that we are anticipating around 80% voter turnout for the presidential election, which is why we have asked for that increase in the funding in the election operations specifically. If we see that much of an increase, we will have to have more machines and more election workers at the sites because they will be completely snowed under at our current staffing and polling places. So if anybody has any questions. And I didn't think to put some really cute picture of like my kids or something on here, so sorry.
Commissioner Peter John.
Thank you. Let me first begin. You mentioned special elections. Help me out in terms of how much of those costs we have to absorb.
Well, of course, they aren't budgeted in my budget, but if it's a special election in the entire county, it's not voting, then we bill the entire amount other than our full-time staff. We can't bill them for our full-time staff, but any additional costs that were because of that election, we bill to the jurisdiction, and they have to pay it.
And that would include any part-time people who are involved? Or
That we brought in to work for that election, yes.
Okay.
Just not ours, and it would not include my staff's overtime.
Visit with me a little bit in terms of where we are in terms of the legislation that's up in Topeka that could move the elections to November from April. That wouldn't take effect until
2017
at the earliest.
It depends upon which way they pass it. Right now, what is passed out of the Senate and what's been agreed on in conference committee is moving to the odd-numbered years. That means that would take effect in 17. If they do it the even-numbered years, it would take effect in 16, which would be a big issue for us because the increase in ballot styles would not be likely to fit on our current voting equipment. The next generation of equipment would not have that issue in the even-numbered years. So it has passed the Senate odd-numbered years, and the House, I'm assuming, will take it up in the next couple of days.
But if they just move the local elections to November in odd-numbered years, that's not a problem with our current equipment.
No, it would not be a problem with our current equipment, and it would actually address some issues that we currently have where our election calendar is so abbreviated that we cannot comply with state and federal laws right now, and when we are supposed to mail out our ballots to our military and overseas personnel, it would address that issue. It would also mean for us, we're not coming off a presidential election and turning around in just a couple of months, buying equipment and rolling it out for a spring election cycle. So yeah, that would be exciting for me to have it in the fall of odd-numbered years.
Okay, help me out at the moment in terms of the 15 revised budget has you with 15.2 positions. And the adopted was 16.2. Now, with the additional positions that you're asking for, be on top of the 15.2 or the 16.2?
Well, Commissioner, I'll address kind of the first part of that, and then I'll defer to Tabitha to talk about what her additional positions would add to. But that adjustment you see from the 15 adopted to the 15 revised is a difference in the way we can treat folks who have a second job within the county. And so if you look on page 48, about the second line up, you'll see something that says KZ4 election second job.
Okay.
Those were folks who were working security for elections. They had another position elsewhere in the county, and so this is how we had to treat those folks. That has gone away. We no longer need to do that, and so that's a technical adjustment to reflect that. It's not a true loss of staff for the Election Commission office. Does that answer that part of the question? Okay.
And the other thing, which Lindsay would probably be better at explaining the intricacies of, is that on those 15.2 positions, that is including all of our election workers and temporaries into that. They just have they don't get, every election worker does not get a full-time position amount. So we actually only have 6 full-time staff members, but our staffing table says we have 15.20 in order to fit all those people in, and this is where I lose track of it, and Lindsay can explain it better.
And we do have 650 poll workers and temporary positions that are authorized after some adjustments with IRS regulations, where we had to start treating those employees, those folks, as actual employees rather than contract staff. And so in order to make that look a little bit more standardized, what we really expect those people to do in that course of time based on how many hours they really work, this is the full-time equivalent for those positions. And you'll see that under poll worker and also then under temp office administrative. Those 2 categories are where those 650 positions reside.
So in effect, we've got 9.2 positions reflected in that 650. If you add the poll worker and the temp office administrative together.
Yes, and that's been fairly constant the last couple of years.
Okay, so you're kind of annualizing those 650 positions and then breaking them out. I can see why it gets a little convoluted.
Absolutely.
When you said you're looking for perhaps some bigger locations and and changes in terms of, are we looking at consolidating more precincts into one location, or are we looking at
no, it would be trying to deal
more
with
precincts, or what's going on there?
Well, we have an increase in registered voters from when the current model of how many polling places we have was first done in 2006, and we did add 2 additional polling places in 2014, but since the original model for this number of polling places was rolled out in Sedgwick County, we've increased registered voters by, I believe, about 30,000 registered voters. So as we continue to grow, those polling sites continue to get bigger and bigger, even though it's the same, in most cases, the same geographic area that's voting at that location, you have more registered voters. And some of these sites are at capacity or over capacity, like, for instance, the Sedgwick County Zoo. The area that we have to put our equipment is over capacity. We can't fit the number of machines, the number of voters, and the number of board workers we need to get this 7,000+ registered voters who could potentially show up there on election day through the day. So those are the things I'm trying to address.
Well, I was just trying to get a better understanding.
Yeah, absolutely.
The amount we're paying each site to use for holding an election, that hasn't changed, has it?
No, I don't think that's changed in many years. Yeah.
Okay. Let me just switch so I feel a little bit more comfortable. You mentioned election machines, capacity, and equipment in the next generation. What are we looking at, and why? In terms of equipment, are there new rules coming down that we've got to?
Well, first of all, I realize you vote all the time, but you may not be aware of the ins and outs of the equipment that we currently have. Our high-speed ballot readers that we use, those are old enough that we get our results off of a zip disk. And so the technology is old. It's not in current use. We have to find things used off of eBay when we, as far as like for our zip disk drives to read those results in. We cannot, our The operating system on the PCs that we use has to be XP. It cannot be upgraded because the software does not support anything past that. So we literally have 3 computers that we have redundant backups just in case one fails when we're trying to read results or something. But then we have parts computers at our warehouse in case something goes wrong, because we can't put a newer operating system on there that's not supported by Windows anymore. It's not as being discouraged by DIO for us to continue using Windows XP. We also have just the fact that the equipment is just wearing out. We're doing our best to keep it running, but we're seeing more and more issues with the internal printers on the machines because they're jostled around so much when they're moved. We're seeing more issues with the screens on the machines because, again, same thing, they have more wear on them. The technology of the machine, of that touch screen, people, when that touch screen was, we've had them for just short of 10 years, and the technology between what's on my cell phone versus what is on that machine is vastly different, and people come and vote and expect it to be responsive like it's their cell phone, and it cannot be. It's not capable of it. At its peak operating, it will not operate the way people demand it to now. And so we're seeing a lot of change in voter opinion of the voting equipment. It's also because I've found several pieces of our voting equipment for sale on eBay, and to me, once the public can get them, then we're that much closer to being hackable, and I'm very, very uncomfortable with that. There's a lot of reasons going into it. I don't know if I've given you what you were looking for, but the status of our process on picking the next generation is obviously when we're going through an election cycle, we kind of put that project on hold because we have statutory deadlines to meet, and we'll get through these elections in June, and then we will hit that back up again. But I'm going to Topeka on Thursday because actually our statewide voter registration database, the contract on that is up, so that's going out for bid, which is a scary thought that we may be migrating to a new system in a presidential election year. But the counties are obviously have a lot of buy-in and input into that RFP process, so I'm going to a meeting at the Secretary of State's office for that. But at that meeting, the 4 election commissioners are actually meeting together to discuss our plans moving forward, trying to combine our buying power so we can get equipment for cheaper. Because we'll need more of it. So we are working hard to make sure we are getting the best deal we can on voting equipment. Does that answer all of your questions?
Thank you. Yeah,
okay.
Thank you.
I don't see any other questions.
Okay,
Thank
thanks.
you, Tabitha,
all right.
for everything.
Thank you, Tabitha. All right, well, Commissioners, that was our final presentation for today. We do have some time slotted for discussion or questions if you have any, and if not, then I would recommend that we adjourn.
Got anything for us, Bill?
Nope.
Commissioners, no other questions?
Okay, then we'll reconvene tomorrow at 1.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.